Hi, friends. Sorry, it's been a little while since I've last made a post. I picked up a couple of extra shifts at work and then I crashed and burned. So, everything that I read on the weekend. I ended up getting a little bit sick, hence my being missing in action a little bit. And I completely lost my voice. So, I was stuck in bed reading. I couldn't post anything. I was very, very sad. But I'm beginning to gain my voice back, and I really wanted to talk about the little bit that I did read because I was so tired. I was trying to give my brain a little break. So the majority of what I read was in English. Can I pick it up with one hand? So this is everything I read, and we will go over them one by one like always. I finished actually two novels over the weekend. Just one I finished Saturday, the other I finished Sunday. So Sundays will be in next week's reading recap because I'm trying to keep everything like what I read Sunday through Saturday. I'm trying to stay organized. So let's take a look at everything that I read. Also, I know I'm a little bit quieter. I just gained my voice back and I really don't want to lose it again. But okay, starting off with the only Japanese read of last week was this one, and this is volume 3 of The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl. This is a series that it's so near and dear to my heart because I was so tired. I I really didn't want to read in Japanese all that much. I wanted something really light, really like something I didn't really have to think about to enjoy. But even though this one is in Japanese, it's such a calming, like loving story that even though it is in Japanese, I don't have to use my brain all too much. I can just sit down and enjoy the story. This one, for like the quickest of quick recaps, is about a man here, Himuro. I keep mixing up his name. I keep calling him Hirumo and Himuro. His name is Himuro. So it is about this man who is named Himuro, who is the descendant of an ice spirit. So he is able to conjure up like snow, ice storms. He can freeze things. He can make little snowmen. And typically, it's not really in his control. He does it when he's feeling big emotions. It's really cute. It's kind of like a dog wagging its tail, where like it shows their emotions, but they can't really control it. And his cool female colleague, who is just a regular human, but she's like super cool. And they like each other, and it's just really sweet. It's a pretty slow burn romance where we follow not just these two. This is like our main couple, but we are following three different couples, at least in volume 3. Volume 1 focuses mainly on these two, volume 2 introduces a new couple, and then volume 3 we have three couples. And while I will say that I do like Himuro and Fuyutsuki, the female lead here, the most, I am like okay with the other two couples. I do like one of the other two couples quite a bit more than the other of the couples, but I will say I do like all of the characters overall because this is such a nice slow burn series. There's never any like drama. The drama is basically like, ooh, does she like me? Does she hate me? And then that's where it ends. It's really like there's no stakes whatsoever, which I really like because if I want something to just like sit down and read with, I don't want or like to sit down and just be chill, like, have a nice evening with. I don't want drama. I just want a nice romance story, and that's what this gives me. So let's try and read this. As with my last video, when I rate things, I'm not going to give it like a number because I don't really like numbering things. It'll make me feel bad if I don't like a series and I give it like a 1 out of 10. I feel bad. So I'm going to rate this more on a yes no scale. So because this is like a office fantasy setting romance series, I will use my romance scale to determine what I think about it. Starting off with the story and the plot. So, do I like the overall plot? Yes. I don't think it's like the most out there plot. I do like the concept of he's a supernatural being, she isn't, but she's super cool, so she gets him flustered. I think that's very cute. And I am liking the addition of the like side characters and their side romances because in each couple there is one like supernatural being and one like regular human, and although they have that in common, they're all very different, which I like. So it's always I don't want to say slow, but it's always laid back, but it's never boring. Something kind of new is always introduced just at the right time to keep you interested. So, yes, I do really like the story and the plot. For the characters, I do like I will say I don't dislike any of the characters. I have my favorites and I have my least favorites. I think my favorite character is Fuyutsuki just because she's so cool. She's such a fun female lead. I like rooting for the female lead. My least favorite character, I will say, what's her name? Her name is Otonashi. Maybe it's because she's in the newest couple that's been brought into this series that I don't like her all that much. Just I don't think she has much of a personality when compared with all of the other characters. Hopefully, we get to see more of her. As of right now, I don't love her. I don't dislike her, but I don't love her. So, characters, more or less, I like them all. When it comes to the art style, I do like the art style. This is a pretty big book compared to other manga series, meaning the art is bigger, it's more crisp, and I almost always like that. I think the art style is really cute and it does add, I think it's fitting towards the story. Like a nice laid back romance story. I do think the art is it complements it. In terms of did this make me feel anything? There were certain scenes that I thought were cute, like when Himuro and Fuyutsuki drew pictures of each other and then they made their respective pictures their line ID images. I thought that was really, really cute. So, there were moments where I was like, oh, but I didn't feel like anything big, which is exactly what I wanted when I picked this up. I didn't want to feel any big emotions. So, this gave me exactly what I was hoping for. So, I'm happy in that regard. In terms of readability, I think it's very readable. I think you can pick it up probably at any volume and you'll be able to follow along pretty easily, which I like. I again because I picked this series up specifically because I wanted to do some light reading and it's exactly what it gave me. I'm very, very happy with that. And do I recommend this series? Yes, I recommend this to everybody. It's such a nice series. It's a sweet romance. It also has an anime. I watched, I think, the first few episodes forever ago, and I remember it being a little bit slow. The manga's slow too, though. Just I prefer it in manga form because I read it when I want, like a slow, calm, casual read. And I like that. Moving on to what I think was my favorite read of last week, which is this one from Tokyo Pop. It's volume 2 of My Contract with the Apothecary Monster. This is a very much information heavy series, which is why I read it in English. I would have been way too tired to read this in Japanese. This tells the story of it's such a complex series. It tells the story of a woman who is brought into a different world where everybody kind of has a power. Her power is song bearer, which can be a useless power just depending on your inner strengths. So, as a song bearer, your role is basically to go out and find a monster to make a contract with. And then every time you have that monster fulfill a request for you, you will lose a little bit of your lifespan. At least that's how I understood it, which is terrifying. You wouldn't want to make a contract with a monster in those circumstances. But being in a new world, she doesn't really have any allies. She kind of has to find a monster to make a contract with. So she goes out and she makes a contract with a monster in 30 seconds. And it's this monster right here on the cover. And we later learned that the whiter a monster is, the more high their status is. And he is at the very tip top of all of the monsters. He is the top monster, basically. Other monsters regard him as nobility, he's crazy strong. And he, like, I don't want to spoil it, but so I won't spoil it. So he kind of is very, very happy. He let himself be chosen as her monster. And everything he does for her. He's obsessed with her. Anytime she makes a request from him, he just does it. He doesn't take any of her life force. He doesn't want to be paid. He loves her. He's so happy to do anything for her. And that's basically the story. Our female lead does have a fiance, purely because she transmigrated into this world and her fiance is the prince, and it's his princely duty to protect the newcomer into his world. That's basically why they're in a relationship. The monster does not like the fact that his contractor has a fiance, so he's very, very loving and nice to her. He's awful to everybody else, though, and we follow their like strange relationships with each other. I want to follow this more, so I really did like this. Volume 3 doesn't come out until next September, which is like a year away. So this might be one. I haven't been able to find an English translation of the light novel. I was hoping to read that next, but honestly, I might just be continuing to read this in Japanese because I'm not going to wait a year to find out what happens because I really do like this story. Moving on to my ratings. In terms of the story and the plot, I am very intrigued. Volume 2 specifically, we learned a lot of secrets. We learned a lot of like the whys as to what happened in the previous volume, and I think the pacing in that is very, very good. So like the plot is slowly getting bigger and bigger. The secrets are slowly being unraveled. I'm very, very happy with the plot so far. I will say this is very text heavy and information heavy. So you need to be in the mood to read a lot. A lot happens in this. Again, I like that. I like something with a lot of lore, but you really need to be in the right mood for that. In terms of the characters, there's some characters I like and there's some characters I don't like, which is probably the case for everything I read. I don't like the fiance. I hated him from the second he came on the page. I think he's dumb. I think if he actually liked the female lead, he should have shown that he liked her. I understand he doesn't have a lot of experience with women and blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I don't like him. For the female lead, I think she's okay. I do wish she would learn to stand up for herself a little bit more, but I think she's okay for now. I'm excited to continue following her and watch her grow as a person. I do think her relationship with the monster is very, very funny because even though he's a grand monster, she still treats him like a pet basically, which has like everybody around them freaking out because he could like end the world at like a flick of his wrist basically, and she doesn't care. She treats him like a pet and she scolds him, and he likes it when she scolds him, and it's just really weird. I will say my favorite character is probably the monster, just because I think he's really weird. I think he's really interesting to watch. So I'm enjoying following him. I think he's like a psychopath, and I really like it. I will say also we were introduced to a fairy character in this volume, and I'm really excited to watch more of him. I like fairies. In terms of the art style, I think it's pretty enough. I will say I don't love all of the character designs, and sometimes it's kind of hard to guess just based on the picture what emotion a character is feeling. So there is that, but overall, I do think the art, like, I don't have any complaints about the art. I'll say that. In terms of did this make me feel anything? No. Like, there's really no romance. I know it's technically like a romantasy book. To me, there's no romance in this volume yet, or in this series yet. In terms of readability, I'll say it again, this is a very information heavy book. So you really have to be like wide awake. You cannot zone out at all when you're reading this. You need to be really paying attention from the first page to the last page. Because if you don't, you're going to miss something and then you're going to be really, really confused. And then do I recommend? Yes, if you like kind of weird romantasy transmigration stories, sure. I really liked this one. This is probably my favorite Tokyo Pop series that I own. I would recommend it. I am enjoying it. Moving on, I also read this one, which is volume 2 of I was reincarnated as the heroine on the verge of a bad ending, and I am determined to fall in love. My main gripe with volume 1 of this series was that it was made aware that her brother could be a potential love interest, which is disgusting. I hate that. And so I'm like a little bit upset. I wrote a blog post about this, and when I write blog posts, I like to include the English and the Japanese whenever possible. So I only read the Japanese title like last night. That's when everything clicked. The English translation of the Japanese title left out like the most crucial part of the title. I don't know why they did this, but the Japanese title at the very end of it says like something like, "And my cheat brother will not leave me alone," which would have been like a context clue if they had chosen. I don't know why they left it out. Maybe because the title's already long enough, but I don't like that. I found that to be like a little bit shady, just like a little bit, because in the manga itself, it's kind of like the brother sister relationship is kind of teetering on. They could just be loving siblings, but also the brother hangs out with her just like a little bit too much. That's a little bit weird. Why is he doing that? Like it's kind of teeter tottering. So based on like the English title alone, you can think like, well, maybe like it's just funny. I don't know. But when you take the Japanese title into account, then things get a little bit extra strange. Then you get like, why won't the brother leave her alone? Like this is probably going to keep happening if it's in the title. I feel like it's two different experiences, and I'm a little bit upset about the English translation, but I'll chalk it up to it's already long enough. And that's why they didn't translate it. But moving on, besides that, I did enjoy this overall. In volume 2, we saw our female lead, Rain, continue to work to raise her ranks from F up. She was trying to move from an F to an E every semester. I think it's once a semester. All of the students in the school take a rank exam to try and boost their ranks, basically. So even if you're an S tier, if you fail the exam, you move down. And likewise, if you're an F tier and you pass the exam, you move up. If you fail, you're kicked out of the school. So it's kind of scary if you're an F student, which Rain is. And we watch her try and fight and to get to the E level. I will spoil the tiniest bit and say she was not expelled in this volume, so it is a happy ending in this volume, but a lot does happen. We do meet one new potential male lead, and I think he's silly because his whole character is he's also an F student and he wears glasses. So he wears glasses so he's ugly is one thing, which I, as a glasses wearer, hate that trope. Rain takes his glasses off. Boom, he's beautiful. How did you get so beautiful? That's crazy. And even though he's an F student, now that his glasses are off, everybody's treating him so nicely because he's beautiful. Hate that. That's glasses discrimination, and I will not stand for it. But okay, moving on to my ratings. So, as for the story and the plot, I think it's still fun. I think it's still interesting. I am going to be reading volume 3 because I am curious to watch where Rain goes next. I want to know who the male lead, and I'm praying that it's not her brother. Like one of my other complaints, I had 2 complaints about volume 1, the brother sister relationship and the stepsister. I will say the stepsister really isn't in this volume at all, which is good, which is probably why I liked volume 2 just a little bit more than volume 1. I don't know. I'm curious to see how the other students treat Rain now that she's no longer an F student. We did see a little bit of people coming around to her. Nobody apologized to her, which I think is kind of crappy. They just, like, they started acknowledging her now that she's no longer an F student, which I think is dumb. We are getting some, like, tropes here and there that I don't mind. There's been nothing that actually annoyed me. We get the, like, she's locked in a room and one of the male leads has to save her. That's like probably the biggest trope that happened in this volume. But again, I wasn't mad about it. It's moving the plot along. We're learning more about all the potential male leads. I'm having fun with it so far. In terms of the characters, I would like to see more of the side characters without Rain in the middle. I would like to see their motivations for things. I would like to learn more about the potential male candidates, but I understand we're seeing everything through Rain's point of view, so we have to be following her the whole time. I get that. I will say I still hate the female lead's stepsister as the like villainous character because I think her motivation is non-existent. I think she's so dumb. I want like an actual villain with a reason for being a villain. Is that too much to ask? In terms of the art style, I think it has a nice art style. I think it's pretty, I don't want to say unique, but I do think it does a good job doing what it does. I like the art style. I think it's pretty. In terms, did this make me feel anything? No. No. In terms of readability, I think this is pretty readable. I think it's an easy read. There's not all that much to grasp if you understand the concept of being reincarnated into something, which I think everybody who reads manga at this point is pretty accustomed to. So that's that. And then do I recommend the series? I can't say. Once I can figure out who the male lead is, then I will get back to you on that. Because if it turns out to be the brother, I will not. If it turns out to be literally anybody else, sure, I will, depending on who the male lead is. The last one I read is a light novel, and I'm starting to very, very slowly get more and more into reading light novels, and I'm very happy about that because I really do like reading light novels. And this is called Your Forma. I will say this did take me a little while to get into, but once I was finally able to like actually get into it, I was really, really into it. I really, really enjoyed it. I like I like light novels because I like how they sprinkle like a picture here and there throughout the volumes as a little like present for getting that far. That's how I see them anyways. And I think the whoever they hired to do the art for this was Tsubata Nozaki. Does beautiful beautiful drawings. I think it complemented them so well. I feel like they were scattered just at the right points. It was really, really nice. In terms of the story, this is a sci-fi series about two people like hunting down crimes. I'm going to do the worst job ever of explaining what this is about. Just know that I really did like this. So we have our female lead here, Echika, who is a brain diver. So in this world, everybody has like a chip in their head called the Your Forma. Again, I'm going to do the worst job ever explaining this. I'm not the biggest sci-fi girly, but I still enjoyed this. And so everybody has it's called a Your Forma, and Echika's job is to help solve crimes by diving into people's Your Formas, into their brains, and kind of investigating what they saw. So she can see everything that they saw because it's all recorded in their Your Forma. But because she is just so like overpowered, she is the best of the best at her job, she hasn't been able to have a partner to really be able to help her. Every time she's had a partner, they can only last so long before their brains literally get fried from trying to keep up with her super duper fast brain. So eventually she gets paired up with this android named Harold. Yes, in this late novel world, there are humans and there are androids, and they live together, sometimes in harmony, sometimes in not so good harmony. Harold is a android who is really, really unique compared to other androids. Echika hates androids, but Harold has this way of really getting under her skin. Like he can joke with her even though he's an android, and she doesn't understand how he's able to joke with her because he's an android, and we follow their relationship. They have really, really good banter. I really love Harold, and I love Ichika too, but I really, really liked Harold's character because even though he is an android, he felt real. And this light novel kind of brought up the concept of, do androids deserve to have the same kinds of rights that humans do? And on one side, there is no, because androids were literally created by humans. They're artificial intelligence. They're not real. Well, they're real, but they're not they can't feel anything. They're hardware. On the other side, there are the sympathizers, or what they're called, where androids are believed to, yes, they have feelings. They can talk. They can communicate. They should be given days off. They should be treated well. And so we have those two sides to the coin. So besides the overall story of fighting crime, we also have the background of, what do the androids deserve? And I found it really interesting. Even though I'm not the biggest sci-fi girly, I was still really able to enjoy this because I really like a good crime solving story, and I like their relationship. And it was just really fun. I'm really excited to start volume 2. There is also a manga for this series, but now that I'm finally into the light novel, I think I'm just going to continue with the light novels, if I'm being honest. And that's everything I read this week. I did read one more, but I didn't love it. I was going to include it in this video, but I didn't love it. And I don't really want to talk about a book that I didn't love, so I'm leaving it out. And yeah,